Okay, things you'll need to start is a bastard file, single cut, fine tooth, American cut, and or a flat surface such as the back of this cleaning brush or a small piece of wood, and 600 grit sandpaper. That'll work in place of the file. Uh, Blue Magic metal polish cream, small piece of 1000 grit sandpaper, and a Glock tool or a punch of some kind. Okay, this is a video that I was planning on doing for a while, but I don't like talking on camera, so I kept putting it off. This is how I improve the Glock trigger that has, been called not so great. A lot of people don't think that the Glock trigger is anything to write home about. This is how I improve them with very little money. I guess I'll say this video is for informational purposes only, and the liability is all on you if you do this. Well, I guess what I would call it, a modification. Alright, well, let's get started. Move the magazine, check the chamber, make sure there are no rounds in the chamber or any ammunition on the table in the workspace. And there's a lot of videos on how to take down a Glock, so I'm not going to take my time and explain it. I'm just going to do it. Okay, there's a few pieces here that I want to polish up, so I'm going to set them in a pile, and that is the firing pin block, the extractor spring, I don't need a spring, but the extractor plunger? I'm drawing a blank, I don't remember what this is called. And set the slide over there, and let's get the rest of this out. Oh, one thing I do want to mention is this trigger pin sometimes can appear to be very, very stubborn when you're trying to get it out and you're pushing on it, and it just doesn't want to budge. The easy way to get it out is to start on I guess I would say the left side of the gun, and to basically just wiggle your slide stop back and forth and up and down, and that's it. You just wiggle it around. It comes out real easy then. It's about the only challenging thing about taking this gun apart. And I like the fact that it all can be done with one tool. This I actually got out of a VCR. There's a lot of little metal bars and little things that make great punches inside of old VCRs, and yeah, they're really cheap, so I get like 20 of these out of there. It works great, stainless steel. Okay, I got the 4 pieces out that I'm going to polish, and I'm going to start with the trigger bar assembly, as I feel that that's the most important spot to focus on. Speaking of focusing, I want you to be able to see this, the crucifix here, nickname, I don't know, I think that's the actual name of it. come on, focus. This is the area that I focus on right here. Nice. Not the greatest camera. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little, where they cut the sheet metal, a little lip and kind of a rough surface area that I'm going to take down. Alright. I like to use a vise. If you don't have one, it's not that big of a deal. Sure, it's plenty. It just makes it easier. Okay, yeah, I can see that. What you don't want to do is change the angles. All I'm doing is taking off the asperities, the inconsistencies on the metal here on this piece that interfaces with the back of the firing pin. I'm not taking off but maybe like 3/1000 of an inch tops. And now you can see that little lip right there. Now all I want to do is make this uniform. That's it. You don't want to change the angles. Do not change the angle on this. And yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and do this and come back. Alright, almost done here. Just make sure to keep that angle the same. Make that motion as uniform as possible. You don't want to take off so much material that you take off the metal past the surface hardening. And that's it right there, like 20 strokes. It's not gonna focus. Should have used my GoPro. Oh well. But I think you can tell now it's kind of shiny. But that's all one uniform surface. And I didn't really take off even at 3/1000. I maybe like even less. Barely anything. And then you're just gonna move to the 1000 grit sandpaper. Just until you stop feeling any friction from it and it feels smooth. I like to use the file as a backing. Makes it a lot easier. Take a little bit off there. Yeah. That feels good. It's going to take a lot of that, if any, grittiness out of the trigger pull. Alright, it's better lighting over here. Get a little bit of that light off. Alright, I think you get the idea. Stop admiring it. Now all you really need to do, if there is any, a lot of time there isn't much, is this surface right here that interacts. This is towards the rear of the gun. This is the disconnect right here. It goes in there just like that. This surface interacts right here along the disconnect, pulls the trigger down. This spring out of the way, make it a little easier. Basically what this does is that while you're pulling this trigger, this pulls that crucifix section that touches the back of the firing pin down and out of the way. See that? That's what that does. And there's another surface here that can get kind of have some asperities and some inconsistencies or rough spots from where it's cut, I believe, stamped out of sheet metal and then heated and treated. Oh man. But that's all we're gonna do with that too. Except with this, you don't need to remove any material at all. All you need to do is get your 1000 grit and just polish that surface. Not to change any angles. You don't need to change any angles. There's not enough on here to need to take any material off to make it uniform. Just gonna polish it with the 1000 grit. That's looking good. There it is. Looking pretty uniform. And another thing that seems to add to the weight on the Gen 4 is this little bump here. And I've seen people file that down or put a Gen 3 trigger group in their Gen 4 so they can get a lighter trigger pull. I'm not going to do anything to it. I just like it. I don't really need it to be all that light. 5 pounds, 4.5 pounds is good enough to me. This modification will have you about 5 pounds. So I'm good with that. I don't need anything lighter than that. See how it's cut. I might take a little material off this. If you're paranoid about your safeties, I wouldn't do this part, but as long as you don't change any of the angles or remove too much material, you're not going to have any problems. I don't. The fact of the matter is, a lot of the aftermarket triggers change the location, the angle of this. Gosh, I wish I knew the name of these things. Anyway, there's a trigger bar. This is a part that interacts with the firing pin block. But the angles change on aftermarket triggers, and it's been proven a lot of them don't engage it or pre-engage it. Even just to shorten that pull, it pre-engages the firing pin block, basically essentially making your drop safety not work in a lot of aftermarket triggers. So just so you know, to FYI, that's why I like the stock stuff. And I remove just enough material to where this is going to be even from side to side. That's it. I'm just taking off where the metal folds over itself and when it's being cut. You'll be able to see it easier in person. I'm not applying any pressure to this at all. I'm almost just using just the weight of the file to do this. And that's it. I'm using my finger for this part because it's a round. It's a lot easier just to do. Switch to the sandpaper here. I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here and finish this up. Okay, I'm back. There's the three things that we've done. I've polished surface here that engages with the firing pin block, the rear of the crucifix, right there, and right here. You can see those are all nice and uniform and smooth. The only thing left to do to this is pull out the Blue Magic, get some gloves on, because I care about my liver somewhat. Just get a dab like that, and we're just gonna go over this entire thing and polish it up. You don't really even need to apply any pressure, just go along every little section of it, the whole thing. Get those spots that we sanded. If you feel it necessary to use a Dremel to do this, I wouldn't. It's too easy to take off material, too much material with a Dremel. I think this sort of thing should just be done by hand. Alright, well, I'm going to finish this up and then come back. Okay, I've got this pretty well polished up, looking like chrome. Stuff leaves behind a nice silicone layer and keeps it real smooth, and Yeah, water will just beat off that like it matters, but it will. That is smooth. Get my rag that's soaked in CLP here. It's not really even not much effort to use this Blue Magic stuff. I know a lot of people like this Mothers. I feel like it's a lot more work to use this. I've pretty much stopped using it. Blue Magic I feel is superior to that and Flitz, and I like Flitz. This new formula, I don't know, I feel like it falls short for metal. Blue Magic, that's where I'm at. And you can see the results. That's just Blue Magic. That's not prep or anything. That's right there. That's nothing but Blue Magic. That looks good. No angles changed. Just nice smooth metal. Alright, you can do this by hand with the Blue Magic and a rag, but I'm going to use a drill if I didn't leave it in here. I'll be right back. Alright, this just makes this a lot easier. Let's secure that in there. Do this and like really cuts down time, but it's not necessary. It's not really necessary to polish this. I would say while I'm here, I just do it because I figure why not. That's it. See how quick that was. And the final one, the firing pin block. You just really want to polish this mushroom head side. You don't need to do this, just this. This is the part that interacts. It's the mating surface. This video probably sucks. Sorry. This is my first real attempt at showing any of the modifications that I've done, and I don't like talking on camera. Yeah, you got a little bit on there. Just grab it there. Alright. This video's starting to be really long, isn't it? And without having to really say anything, I polish the disconnect. We don't really need to show that, so be right back. Talking about you want to just pay special attention to this underside right here. It's the side that mates. So I like to use my fingernail on the rag and that polish and just get under there. Get that nice and smooth out. There it is. Polished, polished, polished. And like I said, you don't really need to remove very much material at all to like get that smoothed out. Like just enough to where I'd probably need a micron gauge to be able to, and maybe that might not even pick it up. It's so very little. The part where I remove the most material is right here on the back of the crucifix, and you might pick it up with a micron. It's not much at all. You might be able to see right there. This is the type of stuff that I'm trying to get rid of. Yep. It's got those lines, little cut marks, and I guess you'd call them like pinch marks from being cut. That's it. I wish Glock would just do this. For 500 bucks, you think they would, right? Alright, the last thing that we're going to polish here is the hook on the firing pin itself. I need to pull this camera. This is getting annoying. Alright. Right here. This hook. That hooks the back of the crucifix. Right there. Grabs it, puts tension on the spring, and then releases it. And there is something I'd like to show you about taking down and reassembling the firing pin that I find is the easiest way. I can get this barrel back out actually. Alright, I'm gonna lay it flat just like that. You can pull them out right here. Put it reversed back in its firing pin channel. It makes it easier than trying to hold it on your lap and disassemble it, because you can see these two little pieces right here. That hold the spring. Here's one thing I would say never ever upgrade is a reduced power firing pin spring. I think that's the stupidest thing you could do. I've seen it cause all sorts of problems, and I don't know why you'd want to weaken your firing pin spring, the one thing that starts the whole process. You know, it's ridiculous. And then you get a really dull reset. I would not upgrade that. Just stock weight is fine. Set these little tiny parts aside. Pull that plastic off. Set that aside. That aside. Okay, got that disassembled. In general, these are actually machined pretty well. Do they have some little lines? Oh, God, I wish I had a better camera that run along it. But they're really very menial, and you can pretty much just do this like you did the connector and the trigger bar, just by hand with your fingers with the Blue Magic. So yeah, we don't need to see that. Be right back. Actually, I would like to say, focus on this part right there, the foot. Put most of your focus right there. Okay, I'll be back. Alright, call that good. Yeah. Okay. Alright, see how fast I can reassemble this. Show you that. Okay. Again, this is the way I like to put the firing pin back together. Just like this, setting it right back in there. See? Gives you something to work off of. Get that going in the right direction. Just little tiny parts. Get the first one in there, that'll hold it. Get this other cup, spring cup. There you go. See? Easy. Alright, I'm back. Gun is still clear. No ammunition on the table. There it is. All my parts. Looking good. And you can either take my word for it, or you can try it out yourself. Make sure that the gun is clear. Nice, crisp, and smooth. You can see on the Gen 4 there's really not much take up at all. Or actually, yeah, over. But crisp reset. I feel like this makes it even more a little bit crisp. It's quite a bit of prep, but if you know you got good discipline, feels good. You can even take up that little bit of slack. And those sights don't move. Actually, I got a tripod. I can point it at the camera. Takes about 1.5 pounds off the trigger. It really smooths it out, and I think it makes it all you really need in a trigger. It's still safe. It doesn't cost me almost $200. And yeah, well, you've seen what I can do in my videos, so very good. Alright, final thought. I've done this modification to all of my Glocks, including my first G19, and I've had more than 14,000 rounds through that without a single malfunction. I mean nothing. And yeah, so I mean, you got, this is my Glock tool. I got it out of a VCR, like I said earlier, at Goodwill. The VCR was like $3. Blue Magic, it's like $6-7, and sandpaper, you know, $5-6, and a rag, so an old sock or something, a t-shirt, anything. So yeah, I guess we'll call this the $15 Glock trigger job, and that's it. That's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching.